We here. I won't conform. No, I'm transformed. The biggest news out from Atlanta, man. Kirk Cousins might get released. Now, if y'all been here, and if you ain't been here, you need to like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friend about them Dirty Bird sandwiches, because I made a video about how Michael Penix might be out of Atlanta. But if this move comes to fruition, if Kirk Cousins is released, cut, traded, whichever one it is, Michael Penix should be the QB1. Now, like I say, that's a big if. Everybody saying they're going to release Kirk Cousins. Everybody saying by March, they need to make a decision and all that. Ain't nothing happened yet. That's all I'm going to say. And then knowing what I know about Kevin Stefanski and how he operate, he really do want a veteran quarterback in his offense, in his quarterback room. So that's why I said what I said about Kirk Cousins probably still on his roster. But the reason why the previous GM got fired is because they gave Kirk Cousins this ridiculous $180 million contract that they still paying him for. And then at the same time, they're going to have to owe Kirk Cousins like $6 to $8 million at, I think after June 1st. They owe him like $6 to $8 million. So they could be potentially what the move is on releasing Kirk Cousins. But we're going to take a look at it on Sports Track to show you what the cap space will look like if the Falcons trade Kirk Cousins, release him, or assign him post June 1st assignment. And we'll look at that because they got all that on there. I didn't even know they had that on there until I looked at it. But first thing first, man, Kirk Cousins. That was a big shocker when they did sign him with the other GM. And then giving him $180 million come off of Achilles injury, not knowing how he was going to play. Now, granted, Kirk Cousins, he did play up to par. Them first couple games before he took a dip, and we didn't know why. But come to find out, he had hit that he was hurt. And at the same time, I understand why he hit where he hurt, because the Falcons up there bamboozled him by drafting Michael Penix. And I still say, ain't nothing wrong with Michael Penix, but I still say they should have waited until 2025 draft to get Shedeur Sanders. But that's a whole different video. That's just my opinion. But not telling Kirk Cousins, paying Kirk Cousins all that money, and then not telling him you about to draft Michael Penix, I would be cautious too. And that's why he asked for a trade. But you already know the Falcons weren't about to trade him with all that money. But with that being said, we're going to listen to dude right here talk about Kirk Cousins being released. But like I said, it ain't happened yet. And if it do happen, then it is what it is.
Jeff Howe, the Atlanta Falcons are expected to release Kirk Cousins before March 13th, which would be the last day of free agency. Now, again, this is not something that is necessarily new to us. I mean, it is new information that it's being confirmed that they're expected to move on from him, but we kind of figured after the restructuring of the deal that the Atlanta Falcons were trying to clear up cap space and allow Kirk Cousins to safely and reasonably search out a new team in free agency. By the way, the guy that wrote this article that was released today, his name is Josh Kendall, and he is a beat writer for the Atlanta Falcons. That is his day job. So in case you were questioning the validity of this article, that is very, very valid. I trust his work. He's not putting out clickbait stuff. But like I said, we expected this. I thought right after the initial restructuring of the deal came out that there was a shot that Kirk Cousins could come back. And you'll see also later on in this episode why the idea is not completely dead, but it's definitely on life support. So after restructuring his deal, he was pretty much done. Can we all agree on that? Like, you don't get $68 million if you're still on the roster on March 13th, because that's the, deal of the contract. That's what he renegotiated for, was that if he is still on the roster on March 13th, he gets $68 million. Well, you think the Falcons want to pay $68 million to Kirk Cousins? Let's be so for real at this. They're not going to do that. So obviously, with the opening of Kirk and the cap space for free agency, we can reasonably assume that Kirk will no longer be on the Falcons in 2026. This is, of course, why you subscribe, though. Every single bit of Falcons news,
Now, with that being said, I don't know. Now, the restructure was before they signed or found Kevin Stefanski as the coach. Now, they got a relationship. And like I just told y'all before, Kevin liked a veteran quarterback that can run his system. Hence, Cleveland, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett. Like, he was forced to play Dylan Gabriel before he wanted to, and then he was forced to play Shador. So, he done been through 13 quarterbacks, and not none of these quarterbacks that ran Kevin offense, not even Baker Mayfield, that was younger, that needed development, they haven't had success in Kevin's offense. This is my logic now. This is why I'm thinking. This is why I'm saying this. So before y'all get in the uproar, that's why I'm saying that. I'm telling you, Kevin done been through 13 quarterbacks, and the younger quarterbacks that still need development in his system have not succeeded. So that's why I'm thinking they might keep Kirk Cousins and pay him that $6 to $8 million, because they still gonna have 20. As far as I know, they still gonna have $27 million in cap space left. They go do whatever they want to do. But you got to understand, the Falcons roster is not. They don't need that many more pieces. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got to go get this player to put them over the top. That player did that. They already got some pieces on the team that, you know, they're going to have to pay for. But having Kirk Cousins on the roster, I think there's even more insurance, because now you got a vet quarterback that can run Kevin offense straight from the jump. And best believe, I told y'all before, I do not like Kevin like that. Kevin probably want to get off to a hot start, and the only way I see getting off to the hot start is keeping Kirk Cousins. Unless you're going to bring Joe Flacco in. That's the only other way. Unless you bring Joe Flacco in on a cheaper deal, or like Buddy going to say in a minute, you cut Kirk Cousins and re-sign him. But if Kirk Cousins want to re-sign with the Falcons after they just cut him to save from paying them $6 to $8 million, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Jamil, don't start there now.
Kendall's article. Quarterback Kirk Cousins has 2 years remaining on his contract, but is expected to be released in early March after Atlanta restructured his contract so that he will be owed $68 million if he's on the roster on March 13th. Cousins could be released and then re-signed. That's important to note. If he doesn't find a better option elsewhere, that's also an important note. And the Falcons are interested in bringing him back on a less expensive contract. Well, here's what I can pretty much guarantee you. Number one,
that makes no sense. If I were Kirk Cousins, that makes no sense. Why would I want to get cut to lose $6 to $8 million, to get re-signed to the team to just cut me to save $6 to $8 million, unless I just want to play with Kevin Stefanski that bad, and I know the Falcons need me. I'm about to get to it. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think Kirk Cousins would re-sign with the Falcons. That's just my opinion. Because they don't make no sense. As a human being, as a person, that makes no sense to get disrespected. To save $6 to $8 million for a team that cut me, they want to re-sign me on a lesser deal. It don't make no sense to me. But I ain't no NFL GM, and I ain't Kirk Cousins. With that being said, I had showed y'all this earlier on my last video, how Kirk Cousins is a release candidate, and then this before he restructured the deal. This article right here was written before Kirk Cousins restructured his deal, so we're going to read it again. There's a lot of direction this situation can go, but outright release still remains the most likely at this juncture. Atlanta will roll into 2026 with limited cap ability, $15 million estimate, and buying out Cousins contract can open up $22.5 million more immediately. The decision comes down to the Falcons' internal thoughts about their QB1 role in 2026. If Cousins is still in the plans, a salary conversion to lower the cap hit can come into focus. Now, we already know, like I said, when the article was written, they didn't have no head coach and the GM. They had fired the head coach and fired the GM, and now they got a new head coach and a new GM just hired. So the new GM, I don't know. It gonna be up in his decision. Or let Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan came and told him, look, do what you gotta do. We gotta figure out Kirk Cousins' contract, and we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with him and how we're gonna save money. Or we just gonna cut them all outright. So this right here, this on Sport Track right here. The Falcons right now got 27 million. Can y'all see this? Appreciate all that 13 that's in here. You know, we still new on this channel. But we growing. This ain't my first rodeo. Go at Jamel. He already know what's up. Anyway, 27 million cap space the Falcons got right now. Now, if we see right here, Kirk Cousins, his cap hit gonna be 24.6 million right now. If they release him, I guess during March 13th or before March 13th, they're gonna get a dead cap of 35 million. That's released. And then if they get the dead cap of 25 million, if they trade him. Now y'all tell me what team gonna want Kirk Cousins on this the rest of his deal right here. I don't know what team gonna want Kirk Cousins on the rest of this deal right here. But we got these. Dang, boy. Come on now, get right, boy. Let's see. We got these options for Kirk Cousins that the Falcons could do, and y'all can see them right here. They can convert. They got 2 conversions, a stitching that's not happening, a release, a sign and apply post June 1st release, a quick trade, and a creator trade. Well, we can create a trade, but you still see the dead cap gonna get hit with 25 million on either of them trades. So you tell me which one you wanted to do. Now, with that being said, like Greenleaf up there talking about, the budget for the salary cap gonna increase by 100 million. So they have 305 million salary cap for each team. Now they're gonna open up some space just because the salary cap going up. Now, at the same time, do that make the Falcons want to keep Kirk Cousins because the salary cap going up? So now they can still have more wiggle room, even with paying Kirk Cousins 6 to 8 million. I don't know. I ain't the GM. I'm just speaking in terms of what's going on. But as you can see right here at the top, if they do this conversion right here, the minimum base, and then a bonus three void years, that means they stretching out the contract a little more past the end of the contract. That means they stretching it out probably 3 more years longer in paying the money wise, not having Kirk Cousins on the team, but paying the money wise. So you can do it 2 different ways. Where the new cap would be 23.9 million if they did the first one, and then the second one, if they did it, they would have the minimum base plus the roster, I guess the roster bonus, and then 3 void years would bring the cap down to 15.9 million. Now, the information that restructured the contract, I don't think they came out yet. So if the Falcons had did their second one, then they might end up keeping Kirk Cousins. If the new cap hit for 15.9 million, that's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. But I don't know. We ain't got no more further detail, but we're going to stay with it. But then, like I said, the one right here, the release will be a 35 million cap hit, and then a sign and apply post June 1st release would be 2026 incurred cap hit now. June 1st would be 24.6 million, and then a dead cap incurred post June 1st will be 22.5 million. So that's what they were talking about in that article. Well, if they do a sign and apply post June 1st release, then they'll hit the cap for 22.5. I guess you had to add both of them totals up to get that 6 to 8, where they'd be like 46 million or something like some change, or 47 million or whatever that is. That they might be losing instead of paying him 6 to 8. I'm just looking at it. I ain't got no concrete numbers, so don't quote me on that all the way. That's all I'm saying. I'm just looking at the number. So you could do it either way. We can do it either way, and then we'll see what the cap hit right here. So the Falcons, the financial summary we on the right. This the top 51 cap space, 27 million, and then the cap gain or loss. You'll see if we do any of these more the release and the sign and apply, where the conversions and the release, you ain't gonna be able to see the sign and apply post June 1st difference right now if I clicked it, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a L either way around with Kirk. I don't know, man. I'm telling you right now, Let me get my close up when I say this. I'm telling you right now, if Kirk Cousins on this team, this is Kevin Stefanski's best chance to win in his first year. Now, this NFC South is wide open. Ain't no team dominant in this conference. This is the worst conference in the NFL. So if y'all like this Kevin Stefanski and want him to succeed as the Atlanta Falcons head coach, they would keep Kirk Cousins so they can hit the ground running. Because I'm telling you right now, man, you can say whatever. I'm telling you what I seen the last year when I covered Cleveland and Shador up there. They kept saying Shador was developing slow. He needed to learn the protection call. He needed to learn the playbook. He needed to learn how to read the defenses and stuff. I heard the same type stuff about Michael Penix. He needed to learn how to read the coverages. He needed to get through a progression faster. So you telling me all of a sudden Kevin Stefanski, like he's saying in these press conferences, we're going to take a look at it. When he's saying in these press conferences, these interviews, that his main focus is player development, when I just seen it with my own two eyes and 13 other quarterbacks, that the development was nowhere to be found. Not with a young quarterback, development was nowhere to be found. So you telling me him moving to Atlanta, now his focus is on developing a young quarterback? No. The biggest success and the fastest success for Kevin Stefanski is keeping Kirk Cousins on the roster and having him run this offense that Kirk Cousins already know. He a vet. Kevin Stefanski like vets. Just my opinion. But everybody gonna get some backlash and hate on me because I said it. And I don't even like Kevin like that. But Falcons, the home team, I want them to do good. But as you did, answer this question for you. Do you play this game of football, NFL? Do you play this game to have your favorite team win a one playoff game or just make the playoffs or win division titles? You want your team to win the Super Bowl, don't you? Ask yourself this. Do you think Kevin Stefanski can lead this team to the Super Bowl? That's what you need to ask yourself. Me? No, not even close. Win the division? Yes. Make it to the playoffs? Yes. Super Bowl? No, not even close. Man only won one playoff game. Went to playoffs 2 years in 6 seasons, and they keep talking about the Cleveland Browns was trash. The man had Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Nick Chubb on offense and made the playoffs one time. You tell me, with Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward on the other side. You tell me.
My savage. Money man in the thing of a T and playing no games. Should already know my name when I speak NCC flame. Got my YouTube poppin', man. Like, subscribe, and everything in between. You already know. Money man. You already know.